I watched the entire Samurai Jack cartoon, and honestly, it's insane. Genndy Tartakovsky's masterpiece came out nearly 25 years ago. The show spans 5 seasons, the finale of which aired only in 2017. Minimalist visual design filled with beautiful landscapes, a plot far from childish, color symbolism, and a light yet complete archetypal arc of the hero's journey. That's why it earned multiple Emmy Awards, which, by the way, is the TV equivalent of an Oscar. But what is it about this series that captured the hearts of millions? Let's quickly recap the plot and do a little analysis. In ancient times, a force of evil emerged in space against which even the gods fought. A piece of darkness fell to Earth, destroying many dinosaurs and creating a forest of black spikes. That evil existed for thousands of years until one day, an emperor in the feudal Japan dared to destroy it. He found the source of darkness, but his arrow only gave birth to the demon Aku. The emperor was defeated, but the gods granted him a magical sword and armor. He defeated Aku, but the demon only went into hiding. Around this time, his son was born, the future Samurai Jack. However, he couldn't foresee the coming catastrophe, and the evil broke loose. Jack's father once defeated Aku with the divine sword, but now he's taken captive. The kingdom is engulfed in chaos, and the young hero is forced to accept the call to adventure. Before the decisive battle, Jack undergoes years of training. At his father's command, he travels the world, where wise mentors teach him combat, cultures, and philosophy. At last, Jack returns home, ready to face evil. In his duel with Aku, he almost defeats the demon, but in a cowardly move, Aku opens a time portal and casts Jack far into the future. Thus, Jack crosses the first threshold of his journey, from the ordinary world to the unknown world of the future. In a futuristic landscape now ruled by Aku, Jack quickly realizes the scale of devastation. Flying machines, talking robots, aliens among people, all beneath Aku's dark shadow. Jack feels like a stranger in this bizarre era, but he soon gains a new name. Without time to process, he throws himself into battle, saving a group of intelligent, talking archaeologist dogs enslaved by Aku. Jack destroys swarms of mechanical beetles, and so the first allies appear. Jack continues to wander across this strange new world. He frees the Woolies from the harsh slave masters who serve Aku. Hope for a way home flickers. There are rumors of magical portals and ancient artifacts. But it's never that simple. Aku keeps interfering, taking on different forms, symbolizing the many faces of evil. In one episode, Jack hears of a magic wishing well that could send him back to the past. It's guarded by 3 blind archers with inhuman accuracy. Navigating a storm of arrows and defeating them in battle, Jack stands ready to make his wish, but realizes the archers themselves are victims of the magic. Instead of using the well for his own gain, Jack breaks the curse. Aku tries to break the hero not through force, but through deceit. Once, the demon forces the samurai to fight himself. From the shadows of Jack's anger emerges his dark reflection, Mad Jack, the embodiment of rage and despair. The samurai literally battles his own shadow, and this fight turns out to be harder than many before. Victory only comes when Jack tames his anger. He meditates, recalls his training, and finds inner peace. The evil double fades. It's a short but symbolic scene. The hero learns not only to master the sword, but his own emotions. The hero also learns mercy, granting a Viking warrior the honorable duel he longed for, letting the ancient soul find peace at last. By the end of Season 1, Jack gains a loyal ally, the most colorful of them all, a huge bearded Scotsman. They meet on a narrow bridge, neither willing to step aside. Their scuffle starts off comically, 2 stubborn warriors trading blows and insults. But soon they discover a common enemy. Fighting side by side against Aku's mercenaries, Jack and the Scotsman become comrades in arms. Their friendship is forged in battle. The contrast between silent, focused Jack and the loud, witty Scotsman gives their duo a special charm. Honestly, I love it every time this toothless brute shows up again. Meanwhile, Aku realizes that sending the samurai into the future has backfired. We've seen him disguise himself as allies, for example, pretending to be a beautiful warrior woman helping Jack find an artifact, only to lure him into a trap. After those moments, Jack becomes more cautious and insightful. In the final episode of the season, Aku goes even further. He tries to tarnish Jack's image in the eyes of the young. He gathers a group of children and tells them twisted fairy tales about the evil samurai, complete with a parody of the horror film The Shining. Of course, the kids don't believe him. Aku, growing increasingly frustrated, notices that the legend of the White Samurai continues to spread, and so ends the first narrative arc. Jack completes the departure. He leaves his home, crosses into the unknown, and proves his resolve. In the second season, the hero's true initiation begins, a long road of continuous trials. Each episode is a separate adventure and challenge for Jack. Fate tests him through strength, trickery, and moral decisions. No matter what the future throws at him, the samurai continues forward with unwavering determination. Jack improves his skills and learns new techniques. In one episode, he meets a wild man raised by gorillas and learns an amazing skill, how to leap through the treetops with incredible ease. Jack continues to refine his skills and learn new ones. In one episode, he meets a wild man raised by gorillas and adopts from him an amazing ability to leap between treetops with such height and ease that it's as if gravity doesn't apply to him. This amusing training story, Jack learns to jump, ends with the hero actually jumping like a monkey. The skill will come in handy in future battles, and the story itself shows that Jack isn't standing still. He's constantly growing as a warrior. Not everyone noticed, but episode 7 also represents a second refusal of the call, combined with the appearance of mentors who guide him back to the right path, clearing his mind of doubt. In another story, Jack's opponent is a demonic being named Demongo, a collector of souls of great warriors. This cunning enemy doesn't fight directly, but instead summons the souls of the mighty fighters he has defeated, pulling them from a magical vessel. Essentially, Jack is attacked by an army of legendary warriors turned into puppets of evil. How do you fight death itself? But Jack finds a way. He destroys Demongo's vessel, freeing the trapped souls, and they're the ones who end up giving Demongo a proper beatdown. Not all episodes of the season are dark and dangerous. There are filler episodes too, which give the viewers a breather and show the hero's more human side. Once, a villain steals Jack's clothing, and our proud warrior is forced to sneak around in nothing but a loincloth, even recreating a scene from the first Terminator. The season also contains quiet, touching moments that peer into Jack's soul. He wanders through familiar ruins and realizes they are remnants of his homeland, destroyed by Aku. He remembers his family, his childhood in the palace, everything the demon took from him. For a moment, sorrow is reflected in his face. We understand, for the sake of his past, for the sake of his home, he will fight to the very end. The memory of home becomes a personal reward and a reminder of his goal. Closer to the season finale, Samurai Jack becomes part of yet another legend, this time in a foreign land. He helps Leonidas and his Spartans battle Aku's robot army. Only 300 Spartan spearmen hold a narrow pass against countless machines, and Jack joins their heroic resistance. In this epic fight, the samurai draws inspiration from the Spartans, and they from his presence. Together they create a miracle and halt the enemy advance. At sunrise, wounded but triumphant, Jack says goodbye to his new friends. The king calls him the greatest of warriors, a brother in arms. Jack humbly accepts the honor and continues on his path, because his war is far from over. The third season brings deeper and sometimes darker tones to the narrative. Jack's adventures become even more varied, with almost philosophical parables and horror stories appearing alongside the usual battles, but everything is also secondary. Searching for a way to return home, Jack encounters mysterious mythical creatures, leading him through various wonders to a mysterious time portal. But his path is blocked by the mighty Guardian, a giant in blue armor guarding the portal. According to the prophecy, only those who defeat the Guardian in a duel can pass through the portal. Naturally, Jack does not hesitate to challenge the Guardian. An incredibly spectacular fight ensues. For the first time in a long time, we see that the samurai is inferior to his opponent. No matter what technique Jack uses, the Guardian is faster, stronger, and more experienced. He sees how the portal itself reacted to the samurai's presence. In the temporal vortex, the image of Jack himself flashed, only much older, with a beard and wearing royal robes. The guard realizes that Jack's time has not yet come and tells the knocked-down samurai, "You're not ready yet." He graciously lets him live and disappears with the portal. It's an amazing moment. Though Jack loses the fight, he receives a reward more valuable than victory: hope. Seeing his adult crown self lets us know that the future is not hopeless. Two Shaolin monks who once trained in martial arts with him tell him about a ritual that can open a gateway to the past when the midday sun is at its zenith. Jack arrives at the temple just as the portal is being activated and sees the long-awaited passage through time. It would seem that this is the opportunity to return, but Aku is not slumbering. The stone guardians of the temple are furious, and the vault is about to collapse on the monks. The samurai faces an agonizing choice: to rush into the portal immediately or to save his friends first, risking to miss the chance. Jack doesn't hesitate to choose the latter. He pulls the monks out from under the wreckage at the last second, but pays the price of his journey home. The portal closes without waiting for him. This scene is the quintessence of the hero's nobility. Jack makes a conscious refusal to return for the sake of the lives of others. We are pleased with Hayao Miyazaki's homage in the episode where the plush beast repeats Samurai's movements and follows him around. The climax is approaching, but the hero has one more long act of struggle ahead of him before his final return. During his wanderings, Jack has become a legend. Many know of the white samurai who challenged Aku himself. New friends continue to appear as well. In one episode, Jack rescues a prince and princess of an alien race whose planet was destroyed by Aku. The young rulers flee to seek help and find themselves prisoners of the demon itself. Jack rescues them from Aku's tower and, fending off an onslaught of robots, helps them reach the spaceship. They offer him to go with them, but the samurai refuses. His place is where help and protection are still needed. In farewell, the aliens erect a statue of Jack on their distant homeland so that their people will remember the hero from an alien planet who saved their lives. This touching gesture shows how deep a mark the samurai leaves wherever he appears. Sometimes we see that even Jack needs help. In the two-part story, the Scotsman saves Jack, an old friend meets a samurai on a ship. Jack has lost his memory and even his sword. Moreover, he is mesmerized by the singing of 3 insidious sirens. But the faithful Scotsman does not abandon his friend. He takes the situation into his own hands. He is not subject to enchantments. Memory and skill return to Jack, and together the friends crush the spawn of the sirens. This story is filled with humor and friendly warmth, but also shows that even the greatest hero can fall victim to magic, and it is good when there is a comrade ready to help him out. Aku also appears in person more than once this season, either in comical situations or in dangerous ones. In one episode, the demon, exhausted by the endless confrontation, proposes to Jack to make a truce and solve everything with a fair fight. Without magic one-on-one. Jack, of course, suspects a trick, but agrees. Honor does not allow him to refuse the challenge. The duel begins, and everyone tries to keep their word. For the time being. As soon as the fight is not in Aku's favor, the latter, as one would expect, breaks the agreement and tries to take the upper hand by cunning. However, the prudent samurai outwits the cunning man. He has hidden several false swords around the perimeter of the battlefield in advance. At that moment, Jack strikes with a real blade. The demon flees in terror as the magic sword hurts him for real. The final battle is almost a joke, with Aku caught in his own ruse, escaping, and Jack once again left with nothing. The episode shows that even a soulless demon is inherently fearful. In the last episode, we are shown more like a separate sequel short film. Noir, stylish costume, shoes and music in the video of jazz mixed with blues, all of which spoke only of bandits and evil killing machines that were created by scientists and Aku's henchmen. One of them had an emotion chip loaded into it for fun. The X-models felt no pain and were quickly killed in battle, but one of them on the contrary was very sensual. He made a friend named Lulu and diligently protected until Aku took away the poor robot's last love. He returned to the service to get some peace and quiet. However, all he managed to do was ask Samurai to look after his friend Lulu. A direct reference to the movie Blade Runner. All 4 seasons, the author followed the same path. He was looking for a portal that would send him back to his time, but every time Aku appeared out of nowhere and just ruined Jack's plans. She lost her sword and her hope of defeating evil. It's been 50 years since the actions of Season 4, and for you and I, it's been over 10 years. Season 5 takes us into a much darker atmosphere. The end of Season 4 rolled back the stages of the hero archetype. He again gives up his goal, thinking he can no longer defeat evil. Jack rides through the wastelands on a motorcycle armed with firearms, like an ordinary soldier, not a divine warrior. From the very first scenes, it is clear. Our hero is going through a deep crisis. This is confirmed by the colorful backgrounds. Embodying the character's states, Tartakovsky himself uses colors very skillfully in the backgrounds of the cartoon, immersing the viewer in a deeper understanding of what is going on in Samurai's soul. He still fights the minions of evil, but he does it mechanically, without the former fire in his eyes. His face is often frozen in an agonized expression. The hero's voice has become lower and harsher. It can be said that the darkest night of Jack's soul has begun, the moment when the hero has almost lost hope for the fulfillment of his mission. Jack is literally haunted by his inner demons. He has visions of a ghost boy in a white kimono, reminding him of his duty, or a rider in black armor, an ominous image representing the desire for death. This ghost with blazing green eyes is like the embodiment of Jack's despair, silently following him on his heels. We realize that the hero is seriously traumatized by decades of fruitless struggle. He is tormented by guilt, remembers all those he failed to save, and realizes with horror that he is not aging, while the world around him has been suffering for half a century. In one of the flashbacks, he recalls how in a fit of anger and despair he lost the blade. The sword literally disappeared, deciding that the owner was not worthy to own it. Without the sacred weapon, Jack feels devastated. He thinks he has failed everyone, both his ancestors and future generations. Meanwhile, Aku himself has had a change of heart as well. The villain had grown tired of evil over 50 years. He's bored with sending robots and has even begun to neglect his usual appearance. He is literally working through his inner fears with a psychologist. Ironically now, Aku himself does not seek evil. He believes he has broken Jack's spirit and can sit quietly in his black castle. The only desire to kill the samurai has already lost its meaning, because without the sword, Jack will not be able to do anything to Aku. On a scale where there is absolute evil, there is also light, i.e. Jack. In constant battle, they create a balance in the world. The demon priestess has spent years raising a secret weapon, 7 girls born and raised for one purpose only: to kill a samurai. These daughters of Aku have been trained from childhood to be ruthless killers. They have never seen sunlight. They have been taught that Aku is the god and father of all things, and Jack is the ultimate evil to be destroyed at all costs. As they grow up, 7 faceless masked warriors are on Jack's trail. What begins is perhaps the most tense and dramatic scene in the entire series. Jack kills one of them and realizes that he has killed a human being, even though he has never killed a human being before. He seeks a place where he can rest. The wounded samurai is tormented by a delusion where a young version of him is riddled with insults and offers to finish off the others. He remembers the father who taught him wisdom, accepts his daughter's death, and now full of determination ambushes the remaining ninjas. Jack ruthlessly and without remorse kills all but Asha. The wounded Jack falls with her into the abyss, where it would seem that certain death awaits them. However, the heroes survive. Waking up, Jack discovers that Asha has lost consciousness. He could have finished off Aku's last daughter, but instead he ties her up and takes her with him. Thus begins the unexpected journey of a samurai and a former assassin together. This storyline is the heart of Season 5, showing how even hardened evil can turn to good under the rays of truth. At first, Ashi is full of hate. She curses Jack, calls him a monster, and screams that she'd rather die than accept help from the enemy. Jack, despite his fatigue, shows amazing patience and mercy. He rescues Asha from the monsters that nearly devour them both, and carefully tends to her as they temporarily hide inside the giant monster. Gradually, Ashi begins to see that the reality around her doesn't add up to what she has been taught, literally paralleling the historical facts of countries and religions. Instead of the great benefactor Aku, she sees his scorched lands and frightened people, while the villain Jack turns out to be their savior, protecting children and the weak. The girl's heart changes. She removes the mask and the black garb of the cult, appearing simply as a young girl seeing sunlight for the first time. The samurai also awakens something long forgotten, an emotional connection, a sense that he is no longer alone. These episodes are filled with warmth. We watch Ashi learn to laugh, to admire nature, to choose his own path. In essence, the heroine's second upbringing is taking place, already under the influence of Jack and his example. But the darkness before dawn is especially thick. Despite the new friendship and romance that develops between Jack and Ashi, the weight of 50 years of experience does not immediately release the samurai. There comes a moment when it seems that the hero is finally broken. Jack and Ashi come to town where honoring young children under the rule of Aku, when they all fall from an electric shock. Jack breaks down and leaves as a phantom on a horse. Ashi in turn learns from Jack's old friends how he saved everyone from Aku's evil and is finally convinced of the truth of this world. Broken Jack holds a sword that is about to do the irreparable. This is perhaps the hardest emotional moment in the entire series, seeing a character who was a symbol of hope, now in utter despair. Ashi saves Jack from his act and becomes essentially a mentor and friend to himself. Now it is up to Jack to recover his lost weapon and himself. Following the clues of the spirits, he goes to a sacred place in the desert. There, on top of a stone pillar surrounded by symbols of the 3 great gods, the samurai sits in meditation. He undergoes a spiritual test, moving into the final phase. The 3 gods show him angry, hateful. He lets go of his anger and pain, and in the same instant he gets his sword back, as well as a new kimono. Jack thanks Ashi for her help, for she too has said goodbye to the past, literally, slaughtering an entire Aku army and the mother who made a killer out of her. Now, armed with a sword and no longer alone, Jack is ready to strike the final blow against the darkness. The loving couple heads for Aku's citadel, but the demon himself is not sitting idly by. He did not wait for them in the castle, but attacked them at once. Jack rushes to attack with his newfound sword, but Aku smirks. He has a new trump card. He senses a piece of his essence in Ashi. Using this connection, Aku seizes control of the girl's body. In an instant, Ashi, a second ago a loyal friend, starts squirming in pain and her eyes turn red. She attacks Jack against her will. Aku laughs mockingly. Now the samurai will have to either kill an innocent or die himself. The final battle begins, this time tragic. Jack tries to reach Asha's consciousness, refuses to fight her, and Aku, through Asha's mouth, presses him harder and harder. The situation seems hopeless. Jack cannot raise his sword against the woman he loves, even if she turns into Aku's incarnation. In the end, the demon triumphs, capturing the samurai. Jack drops his sword and surrenders to avoid harming her. Aku finally achieves what he has wanted for years. He stands over the defeated samurai and rejoices. He decides not just to kill Jack, but to stage a show execution to break the hope of humanity once and for all. Aku broadcasts an image of a captured samurai to the world. The end seems near, but that's where all the inspiration Jack has sown over his long odyssey comes into play. Everyone Jack has helped in previous seasons rises for one last fight. At the head of the offensive is the good old Scotsman, now a grey-haired patriarch. He died earlier at the hands of Aku, but thanks to the magic of his loyal daughters, his spirit has returned. Playing the bagpipes, he leads a clan of his many warrior daughters to the Demon's Tower. Next to them we see other allies, Spartan warriors also aged but still fighting, a jumping cyborg from the tribe that taught Jack how to jump, scientist robot dogs, once rescued by him, armed with something they invented themselves. Simultaneously, inside Asha, her primordial will begins to struggle with a dark essence. During her duel with Jack, she realized something. Aku isn't omnipotent, he can be outsmarted. Reminding herself of what Jack taught her, Ashi takes control of her body for a moment. She even manages to regain consciousness briefly, just enough to pick up the dropped sword. And then at the climax, what everyone has been waiting for all these years happens. Ashi, wielding Aku's power and driven by her love for Jack, pierces the wall of reality and opens a portal. In a whirlwind of magic, they disappear from the future. Jack and Ashi travel through time, making a final crossing of the threshold, this time back to their past. The portal brings them neatly back to the moment from which the entire journey began. An ancient palace, in the moment just after Aku sent young Jack into the future. For the evil demon, seconds pass from his point of view. He is shocked by the return of the samurai, and not just one, but with an assistant. Without giving Aku a second thought, Jack rushes into attack. Furious, concentrated, and most importantly, with the legendary sword in his hands, he cuts Aku down again and again, destroying him in front of his astonished parents and people. Ashi senses Aku's power in him at this moment and strikes out at his dark self as well. By teaming up, they ensure that the demon cannot slip away. Finally, with one decisive blow, Jack sizzles Aku's heart. The demon is defeated, definitively and irrevocably. The huge shadow of evil that has covered the world for so many years disappears. The sun breaks through the clouds. Samurai Jack has fulfilled his vow. Well, in short, Jack went through all the stages of the archetypal path of the hero of the book, the Thousand-Faced Hero. Stage 1. The ordinary life of a young boy, Aku Reborn, Jack's call to mission, and the transition to a new threshold, literally a portal in time. Stage 2. The rejection of fate, when Aku is one step ahead every time and destroys the portals when he loses his sword. When he finds his mentors in the form of monks, Ashi and other friends, and finally countless trials along the way. The battle is primarily with himself, not Aku as you might think. After all, the hero has been overcoming himself all along the way, questioning his destiny and mission, and only then comes the battle with Aku. Well, and the reward of the whole journey is finding himself, his love. Stage 3. He returns to his homeworld and plays the wedding. Tartakovsky utilized this circle in every way possible in writing the standard hero story, but constantly threw Jack back to the early stages, preventing him from reaching the end. He manipulated and tormented him, conveying his emotions through whites, blacks, and contrasting backgrounds to make it happen. A light, yet sad epilogue. It's as if the story has made a circle. Jack is home again. With his parents and his people, Aku is defeated. A new dawn without tyranny has dawned. Jack is going to marry Asha. After all, they fell in love along the way, and now that evil has been destroyed, it's time to live for themselves. At the wedding ceremony, Asha suddenly becomes ill. She turns pale and collapses, feeling that she can't exist in a world where Aku never existed. Ashi was the spawn of that future timeline. By defeating Aku in the past, Jack unwittingly erased the future from which the girl came. Realizing this, Ashi thanks him for the happiness he gave her and disappears in tears right into his arms. This moment is heartbreaking. Having just returned, Jack immediately loses the person he holds dearest to him. The finale shows Jack after some time, looking out over a vast valley, symbolizing his long and vast journey. He is saddened by the loss of Asha, but then a small ladybug lands on his palm, just like the one he and Asha used to see together in their travel days. Jack looks at it, and a calm smile appears on his face. He realizes that everything that has happened was not in vain. The world has been saved from evil, and even if something precious is lost, life goes on. I feel that in this moment, Jack finds inner peace. He has completed the full cycle of the hero's journey. Departure, initiation, and finally return. The hero returned home changed and wise, bringing harmony to both worlds, the future and the past. The samurai has mastered two worlds. Physically, he is back in his native time, and spiritually, he keeps the experience of his years in the future forever. I'm sad to say this, but I watched Samurai Jack and it's really fucked up.